Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschati Deshatarane Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. My obeisances to everyone on the call. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Shravana Kirtana Smarana Vandana Pada Sevana Dasare Pujana Shakhi Jana Atmani Vedana Pujana Shakhi Jana Atmani Vedana Govinda Dasa Vilashare Govinda Dasa Abhilashare Shravana Kirtana Smarana Vandana. In this beautiful song by Govinda Das Kaviraj, the 9 limbs of bhakti have been outlined. Shravanam, to hear about Krishna. Kirtanam, to sing about Krishna. Smaranam, to remember Krishna. Pada Sevanam, to worship the lotus feet of Krishna. Archanam, to worship the deity form of Krishna. Vandanam, to offer prayers to Krishna. And Dasyam, to consider oneself to be the servant of Krishna. Sakhyam, to consider oneself to be the friend of Krishna. And Atmanivedanam, completely surrendering oneself and one's identity at the lotus feet of one's master Sri Krishna. So in this way, these are the different limbs of bhakti. We have discussed Shravanam and we discussed Kirtanam. Of course, each one of these limbs are unlimited in quality and quantity. There can be so much that can be discussed on the basis of Srimad Bhagavatam on all of these limbs. But in the interest of time, we'll move to the third limb, which is Smaranam, to remember Krishna. This is very, very important. Smaran Bhakti is very important because our mind goes in all directions. Every moment, if you can see, the mind is accepting something and rejecting something. There's Sankalpa, there's Vikalpa. There's Sankalpa, there's Vikalpa. I want to do this, I don't want to do this. I want to talk to him, I don't want to talk to her. I want to eat this, I don't want to eat this. I want to wear this, I don't want to wear this. There's constant Sankalpa and Vikalpa. These are the activities of the mind. There's thinking, willing and feeling. These are the 3 aspects of the mind. Thinking, constantly analyzing. Willing, I want to, I don't want to. And feeling, the emotions, they're all rising. The mind is like an ocean where there are waves and tides of thoughts. And it's interesting, whatever we keep thinking again and again and again and again, it causes a very strong impression in the consciousness, very strong. And the stronger the impression, next time it's easier to remember that thing. For example, someone who has never drunk alcohol in their life, you speak about alcohol, they don't feel agitated, they don't feel attracted. But someone who has had a history of drinking alcohol, when you talk about alcohol, naturally their mind goes back, it triggers the impression of the past. That this is the shop where I used to purchase from, these are the people I used to drink from or drink with, and this is the brand I used to drink, and this is how much I used to drink, and these were my experiences after drinking. I got into fights with people, or I was fallen by the side of the road, and so on and so forth. It just brings in a series of thoughts. Just the conversation of liquor brings in a whole series because there have been impressions of the past. But for someone who has had no impression of the past, you discuss and it doesn't trigger anything of the past. Now for someone who has been very much addicted to drinking, in the previous example we gave was that someone who is an occasional drinker. But someone who's, let's say, an addict of the past, has been an alcoholic, when you start talking about it, now the desire for him to go and purchase a bottle gets stronger. And then there are those who are total addicts. For them, you don't even have to talk. They don't even need an external stimulus. They don't even need an external instigator. They themselves, naturally, they will steal money or save their money, and with that they will hide and they will go and buy and drink, and they have their own plan, and they don't need an external motivating conversation. How is it that someone in the first category is not agitated, in the second category is triggered, in the third category goes to buy, and the fourth category doesn't even need an external stimulus? It is because what we have been thinking, speaking, and doing, it leaves behind very strong impressions in the consciousness. And to the extent our consciousness is colored by those impressions, to that extent, it is easier to go back to those habits. Does this make sense? So, this example can be given to any possible thing. Someone who has never eaten a sweet in their life, you talk about rasgullas, they are not agitated. But someone who eats, let's say, once a month, now you talk about it, they feel like eating. Someone who's been eating once a week, now they will say, no, let's not just talk about it. Let's go get some rasgullas. Let's eat together. And there are those who want sweet before the meal, during the meal, after the meal. Aham adishcha madhyam cha bhutanam anta evacha. Krishna says, I am the beginning, middle, and end. And Krishna is also the sweetest. So similarly, there are people who want sweet before the meal, during the meal, after the meal. And they don't need us to instigate them or stimulate them into a sweet conversation. Whether we speak about it or no, they will eat. You see, different people are driven differently for different activities on the basis of impressions that they have collected over so many lifetimes. So many lifetimes. Why is it that there are some who are naturally driven towards celibacy and brahmacharya and sannyas, and they lead their whole life in monkhood? They live their whole life as renunciants. And on the other hand, there are people going from one relation to another, to another, to another. And there are those who have public relations, then they have private activities, and they are always mentally agitated by lusty thoughts. It's based on the samskars from past life, impressions from past life. And over lifetimes, we have been pigeons, we've been monkeys, but we've been in the bodies of monkeys, we've been in the bodies of donkeys, we've been in the bodies of pigeons. And all of these different animals, whether it's birds, insects, or animals, some little more than the others, they're all driven by eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. Ahara nidra bhayamaitunam cha samanyametat pashubhi naranam dharmo hi tesham adhiko vishesho dharmena hina pashubhi samana. The Mahabharata describes to eat, to sleep, to have family life and mating, and to fight and defend oneself. These are activities which every insect, every bird, every animal, every living being does. But what separates a human being from any other species is dharma. Dharma. What is dharma? Dharmantu sakshat bhagavat pranitam. That which comes from the lips of the Lord as Shastra, that which brings us back to Bhagavan is dharma. We are not talking about religion. Religion is a word which is made by humans. But Srila Prabhupada would explain dharma as the innate nature of the soul. For example, it is the nature, Srila Prabhupada would give the example, it is the nature of chili to be spicy. If it is not spicy, what kind of chili is it? Right? Imagine you bite a chili and it is sweet. Then people will be like, what kind of chili is this? Because it is not situated in its dharma, which is natural for the chili. If you add sweet on your lassi or something, and let's say if it is salty, if you take some sugar and you add, and then it's getting salty and salty and more salty, and then you realize in the box of sugar, you have kept salt. You thought it was sugar, but it's actually salt because both are white. So we will say, what kind of sugar is this? This is not sugar, this is salt because it is not sweet. So that which is not performing its natural state of consciousness is not performing dharma. So dharma is not Islam or Christianity or Hinduism or any of these things, which are labels given by man on the basis of the family you're born in or the tradition that you follow, and something that can be changed. You can be a Muslim, but you can become a Christian, and then you can become a Hindu, you can become a Muslim, you can become a Jain, and whatnot. So those are changeable social labels given to man, by man. But dharma is not so. Dharma is what every jiva's natural state is. This is how Srila Prabhupada explains. So for example, every jiva, whether it's dog, whether it's cats, whether it's insects, whether it's humans, whether it's plants, they all naturally search out for happiness. They naturally search out for joy. You pelt a stone at an animal, it runs away. But you bring it close and you pet it and you move your hand over it, naturally it feels affection, right? It wags its tail. Why? Because it is who teaches the dog or the cat or the human to cry when opposed and to smile when loved. Because it is the nature of the Atma, Anandamaya Bhyasat, to be happy. Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Pratibhavitabihi Brahma Samhita. Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Mataya Manasu Yapraninam Pratipalam Smaratam Upetyaha Brahma Samhita. It is the nature of the jiva to be happy. But however, alas, 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 although we want joy in serving God, we are searching for that joy in things of this world away from our master. And therefore we are always frustrated because we are not in our natural state of dharma. Please forgive me for the philosophy, but this is very important. Siddhanta baliya chitte na karo alas. Iha haite Krishna lage sudridam manas. Chaitanya Charitamrita says one should never be lazy in learning philosophical truths, because by that our mind will be fixed at the lotus feet of Krishna. Today we hear a story, we get entertained. Tomorrow we hear another story, we get entertained. But what is the take-home principle? Unless we hear philosophical truth, our mind will not be convinced. One time Srila Prabhupada was walking and there was ice everywhere. And Srila Prabhupada was on his morning walk and he was taking his cane, a walking cane, and breaking the ice. He broke the ice and then he walked ahead. And then another time, again with the cane, he was breaking the ice. Then he walked ahead and again with his cane, he was breaking the ice. And one of Srila Prabhupada's personal servants at that time, he asked, Srila Prabhupada, what are you doing? And Srila Prabhupada looked with gravity and he said, water is the natural state and ice is not natural. It is a temporary state. It is an artificial state. And it is the duty of the Guru to bring everything from its temporary, artificial state to its eternal, natural state. Srila Prabhupada said, ice. There's no ice. It's just water when it's frozen that becomes ice, right? And the same water when it's heated up, it becomes steam. So steam or water vapor or ice are not natural state. Natural state is water in its liquid form. So similarly, the jiva is naturally happy, but when it becomes condensed in this world with these bodies, we are frozen. The jiva is frozen by these material bodies, and it's the Guru's nature to speak Siddhanta, like Srila Prabhupada's breaking the cane, with the cane, breaking the ice. So it is the duty of the preachers of the Krishna consciousness movement to bring society back to their original state, not pamper them to be where they are. There are spiritual speakers who will just cut jokes and talk things of this world and entertain their audience. And both the speaker and the listener are both in the state of ice. But it is the nature of the true preacher of Krishna consciousness to break the ice-like covering of the soul of the listeners and bring them back to the water state of natural dharma, of loving God, loving Krishna and serving Him. So therefore, we were talking about impressions and we were talking about artificial state of our existence. The more we do something again and again and again and again, it starts becoming a habit, it starts becoming a conditioning. It starts becoming a conditioning. So if you have good thoughts, they lead to good words, and good words lead to good actions, and good actions lead to good habits. Good habits lead to good character, and good character leads to better future in the next birth. Now on the other side, bad thoughts lead to bad words. Bad words and bad thoughts lead to bad actions. Bad thoughts, bad words and bad actions lead to bad habits, bad lifestyle, bad character and bad future. Because as you sow, so shall you reap. If someone keeps exercising every single day sincerely, then you see over 6, 8, 12 months, their body is much healthier than those who don't exercise. Right? The actions that you take today determines your future tomorrow. Tomorrow, not literally tomorrow, but in a few days, a few weeks, a few months. So it all starts from thought. It all starts from thought. And therefore, Smaranam, remembering Krishna, is such a strong limb of bhakti. The more you remember Krishna, the more you chant about Krishna, the more you think and speak and hear about Krishna. There's three-way attack. There's three-way attack. You're hearing about Krishna, you're chanting about Krishna, you're honoring Krishna Prasadam. Through the eye, you're studying Shastra. So through the mouth, through the ear, and through the eye, if the input is Krishna conscious, naturally the mind becomes Krishna conscious. If through the eye we are reading Bhagavatam, we are having darshan of the deities, through the ear we are hearing Kirtan, we are hearing Krishna Katha, and through the mouth we are chanting, and we are only intaking Krishna Prasad, then naturally through the eye, through the ear and through the mouth, when the mind is attacked in three ways, then the mind becomes Krishna conscious. The more the mind becomes Krishna conscious and starts thinking of Krishna, the more the mind wants to hear now. The more the mind wants to chant, the more the mind wants to read. And the more you do it, the mind becomes more stronger in Krishna consciousness, and then naturally good thoughts, good words, good actions, good habits, good character, better future. We go up. We go up towards Krishna's lotus feet. And if we don't cultivate good thoughts and good words and good actions, then we go down. Ado gachanti tamasa. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, if the thoughts and the words and the actions are not proper, we will dip down to lower species of life. We will go down to animal species. We will go down to bird species. And then when we go down, we perform activities that they do. Ahara nidra bhaya maitunam. We are only eating, sleeping and enjoying sexual activities and fighting and defending, and impressions, bad impressions, dirty impressions. Then when we become a human being, we still continue to do what we've been doing in animal species. And this is why it is natural to eat, natural to sleep, natural to find a mate, and natural to pick up quarrels. Because we've been doing it for lifetimes. We've been doing it for Mama Janmani. So many lives we have been fighting. So many lives we have been eating. So many lives we have been enjoying sexual activities. And so many lives we've been hibernating and sleeping. So naturally, even in the human form, that's what we navigate towards. But this human form is not meant to move with the impressions of past life. It is given to make newer positive impressions which will override all the previous ones. Delete all the previous impressions by collecting good impressions. So when we sit and chant, when we chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, and when we read Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, and when we honor only Krishna Prasad, and we hear Hari Katha, then naturally we start becoming purified. We start becoming purified. So this is very important. Very, very important. We have to watch our mind. We have to watch our thoughts. Till now, we were seeing this world through the mind. But now we have to start seeing our mind. Don't look at this world through the mind. Start looking at the mind. Let's give an example. Let's say there is a father who's driving a car. Okay? Father is driving a car. And on the passenger seat next to him, a little child, his son, is sitting. And the son, for every 2 minutes, as they're driving, there are so many shops on both sides. The son every 2 minutes starts telling the father, Papa, Papa, ice cream, ice cream. And the papa is driving, the father is driving, and he starts looking, where is the ice cream, where is the ice cream? Then he just misses an accident. Then he continues to drive. And then the son says, Papa, Papa, pizza. Papa, balloon. Papa, chocolate. If the father is driving and he keeps looking here and there and here and there, what happens to his car and what will happen to himself? Definitely he will hit someone, get hit by someone and go astray. There will be an accident. Najar hati or durgatna ghati, right? There will be accidents when the attention is lost. So what should the father do at that time? Should he keep seeing the world around through the eyes of his son? Or should he just keep looking at his son, not literally, but keep driving and keep hearing what his son is saying? And if the son is saying something very, very important, like for example, if the son is saying, I am bleeding, I have, I think, broken my arm, can we go to the doctor? Then the father can pull over and then take him to the doctor. But if the father is driving and he keeps listening, the son is saying chocolate or pizza or ice cream or any of these things, what should the father do? Ignore at that point. Because if he continues to look at his son or look the world around through the eyes of his son, he will not be able to reach his destination. There will be an accident. So this is the example given to illustrate how we should deal with our mind. Our mind is like the child on the passenger seat. The child on the passenger seat. And we are driving the car of bhakti. We have to take right, we have to take left. In the sense we have to chant, we have to read, we have to hear, we have to serve. We have so many things to do. And that is like applying the brake, changing the gear, seat belt, changing lanes, wiper, indicators, so many things that we do while driving. Those are the things in this example corresponding to Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, so on and so forth. And the child in the example is our mind. The mind will keep asking something or the other continuously. The mind will say, let's go there. Then it'll say, no, let's cancel. Then the mind will say, let me eat something now. Then the mind will say, no, let me go to the gym. Then the mind will say, no, best I'll go to sleep. The mind is like a child, continuously something or the other, some drama will keep happening. If we stop the vehicle every moment when the child keeps saying something or the other, we won't be able to go anywhere. We won't be able to go. अगर बच्चे की बात मानते रहें तो पिता कहीं गाड़ी चला ही नहीं पाएंगे, और चलाएं तो कहीं और चले जाएंगे, जहां जाना है गंतव्य स्थान है वहां पहुंच नहीं पाएंगे. The father will never be able to reach the destination address if he keeps listening to his child who's throwing tantrums in the car, right? So in our example of our practice of life, we are driving the vehicle of Krishna Bhakti. We have to take the right turn, we have to keep away from the wrong turns. हमें right जाना है तो right जाना है, left नहीं जाना है. So if we have to take some do's and don'ts, that's like driving the car. But at the same time, our mind is continuously there with us like a child demanding something or the other. So pay attention to the child, but don't execute everything. Don't execute everything. The child, the mind may keep asking for temporary things. We'll sit to chant, the mind will say, look at your phone. We'll sit to chant, the mind will say, oh, I had to send this email. Very quickly we'll send this email and then we'll chant. Then we are chanting, the mind will say, I'm not sure if I switched off the gas after on the stove, which is a good concern. Then we may get up and check. But then when we go to check there, somebody else will be sitting there and they will say, okay, so what is the plan for breakfast today? At that point, we can tell ourselves, okay, my point is to chant now. These things can be discussed later. Right? Or the mind will say, for a long time you have been sitting, I think you should stand. Then when we stand, the mind will say, I think you should walk. Then when we start walking, the mind will say, I think you should walk outside the house. Then when we start walking outside the house, the mind will say, I think you should go for a jog. Keep your mala aside, go for a jog. Mind is like a child. It'll keep asking one thing or the other. So instead of looking at the world through the eyes of the mind, keep looking at the mind. If there is something important, we can execute. If it is not important, let it pass. Let it pass. Don't take it seriously. This is the message the Shastra is giving us. So for all of this, we need strength. And that strength will come by remembering Krishna. Only when we have positive solution can we overcome the negative problem. Simple. If somebody is fallen in a well, only when they hold on to the rope will they come out of the well. If you just tell them, come out of the well, but if they have no rope, how will they come out? If we keep telling ourselves, don't think bad, don't have bad thoughts, don't be a bad person, well, just by saying that, we are not going to stop thinking of bad things, right? If I said, don't think of a pink monkey, you till now never thought of a pink monkey, but now you're thinking of a pink monkey, right? This is the nature of our mind. By saying, don't do something, it's not going to stop doing it. It'll do it more. By saying, don't think bad things, the mind will naturally go more towards the wicked things. But by giving positive solution, by hearing about Krishna, by chanting about Krishna, by studying Shastra through our eyes, by taking darshan of the deities, naturally now we are giving very good food for the thought. We are nourishing our mind with positive impressions. And by remembering Krishna in these ways, naturally the negative thoughts leave. So it's very, very important. We are what we think. We are what we think. And we should never think that what we are consuming in life is only through our mouth. We are consuming through our ears. We are consuming through our eyes. जैसे हम कुछ पाने से पहले देखते हैं ना कि ये स्वादिष्ट है कि नहीं, पवित्र है कि नहीं, और ये खाने योग्य पदार्थ है कि नहीं. We are always seeing if this is something worthy to eat. We are not going to take something from the road and put in our mouth because we know it's nasty. We shouldn't do it. Then why are we taking nasty things into our eyes and into our ears? Just like we are very cautious with the expiry date, with the shelf life period of what we eat. If there is something fresh that was cooked in the morning and we are having in the afternoon, still we will accept. But if it is something that is 2 months old with fungus all over, we are not going to put it in our mouth because it's disgusting. Then why are we putting disgusting things through our ears and through our eyes? Naturally creating our mind, creating circumstances for our mind to rot in this world. We want to purify the mind. It's interesting. Krishna gives us mind so that we can remember him and pull ourselves, the soul, out of this cycle. Think about it. Mind is given as a tool by Krishna. We use the mind to remember him and pull ourselves upwards towards Vaikuntha, towards Goloka Vrindavan. But what we do? We use the mind in thinking of wrong things, and instead of elevating oneself, we degrade ourselves. This is why the repeated instruction in the Bhagavad Gita is Krishna is telling us, think of me. Man-mana bhava mad-bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. Mame vaishasi yuktvaevam atmana matparayanaha. Krishna says in 934 Gita, think about me. Then the same instruction Krishna says again in the Bhagavad Gita in 1865. Krishna says, Man mana bhava mad bhakto madhyajimam namaskuru mame vaishasi satyam te pratijani priyoshime. Second line changes. First line is the same. 2 times the same verse has been quoted in the Gita in 934 and 1865. Chapter 9 text 34 and chapter 18 text 65. Where Krishna says, Man mana bhava mad bhakta. Think of me. Become my devotee. Worship me and offer namaskar to me. Bow down to me. Krishna says 4 things. Remember me, become my devotee, worship me, and offer obeisances to me. And of these four also, the first thing Krishna says in both verses is think of me. When Krishna says, Ananyash chintayanto mam, ye jana paryupasate, tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham. Krishna says, Ananyash chintayanta. Ananya, na anya chintana. Don't think of anything else. Remember me, Krishna says. Then again Krishna says, Ananya cheta satatam yomam smarati nityashaha. Look at the words here. I'll pull up the verse. It's beautiful. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. This is 8:14 Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says, Ananya cheta satatam yomam smarati nityashaha tasyaham sulabha partha nityayuktasya yoginaha. Let's chant together again. Ananya cheta satatam yomam smarati nityashaha tasyaham sulabha partha nityayuktasya yoginaha. One last time. Ananya cheta satatam yomam smarati nityashaha tasyaham sulabha partha nityayuktasya yoginaha. Bhagavad Gita chapter 8 text 14. What does Krishna say? Ananya cheta, without deviation of the mind. अपने चित्त का कहीं अन्य कहीं स्थान जाए दिए बिना अन्य केवल मेरा स्मरण. Without letting the mind go anywhere else, satatam, always, ya mam smarati, anyone who remembers me. Again Krishna says nityashaha. Look, line 1, Krishna says satatam, always. Line 2, Krishna says nityashaha, always. Line 4, Krishna says nityayuktasyaha. That yogi who's always remembering me, never lets his mind go anywhere. He is always remembering me, Krishna says. He Parth, he Arjun, tasya aham sulabha. ऐसे व्यक्ति के लिए मैं सुलभ हूं. Such a person easily obtains me. For one who always remembers me without deviation, I am easy to obtain, O son of Pratha, because of his constant engagement in devotional service or bhakti. Krishna talks about this repeatedly. Tesham satatayuktanam bhajatam pritipurvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te. Without deviation, someone who serves me, remembers me, speaks about me, hears about me, remembers me. For such a person, I give them the buddhi by which they can come back to me, Krishna says. So we have to watch our thoughts. And therefore, in our life, our aim is we don't want to increase the dirt in the mind. We have to stop putting more dirty things in our mind. And whatever dirt is already there, we have to clean it by remembering Krishna. Pravishtha karnarandrena swanam bhavasaroruham dhunoti shamalam krishna salilasya yatha sharat. The verse that we chanted even before the japa today, Sankirtyamano bhagavanananta Shrutanubhavo vyasanam hi pumsam pravishya chittam vidunotya shesham yatha tamurko bhramivati vataha. Whether that verse or this verse, Krishna says in the Bhagavatam that by hearing Harikatha, by chanting the holy name, Krishna is entering through the ear. By hearing about Krishna and chanting and hearing the holy name, Krishna enters through the ear into the heart. And what does he do? He cleans. Krishna cleans the mind. हमारे मन को प्रभु स्वच्छ बनाते हैं. हमें कोई कुछ करने की आवश्यकता नहीं. हमें क्या करना है? उनका स्मरण करना है, उनका नाम जप करना है और उनका कीर्तन करना है, उनकी गुणावली का, हरि कथा का श्रवण करना है और अधिक से अधिक स्वच्छ जीवन जीना है, पवित्र जीवन जीना है और कूड़ा कचरा मन में डालना नहीं. We already have enough dirt in our mind. We don't want to add any more by speaking bad things, hearing bad things, seeing bad things. We want to hear about Krishna, chant about Krishna, sing about Krishna, remember Krishna, and in this way purify our mind. And what is the sign of a pure mind? How do we know mind is getting purified? Naturally, taste for Krishna bhakti will increase. Taste for other things will go away. Yadavadi mama cheta Krishna padar vindam nava nava rasadhaman udyatam rantumasit. Another beautiful verse. Yamunacharya. We'll try to screen share this. Look at this beautiful verse that Srila Prabhupada quotes. This verse is from Sri Yamunacharya and it is quoted by Srila Prabhupada in Bhagavatam 9:1839 purport. When we screen share and we quote these verses, it is best we keep a note of all this and then we take some time out to study them. Because then what will happen is Hari Katha will go in the heart. The best way to be absorbed in Hari Katha is to be attentive and to write important take-home points, to write important verses and to study them and to pray to Krishna, my dear Lord, may this discussion purify me, may this discussion give me direction in life. If we go on just hearing one class after another but we don't contemplate, we don't make notes, we don't think, we don't review our material, then we will forget. It will be very superficial. But we have to hear and chintanam. We have to contemplate. After the class also we should think. Ideally, the way to hear Krishna Katha is we attentively hear, we ask questions, we take notes, and even after the class we sit with some devotees who attended the class and we discuss, what did you write and this is what I wrote. Then we exchange notes to see if I missed a point, and then if there were stories, if there were examples, if there were shlokas, if there were take home message of practical application, we write all of that, fill in our notes and make it perfect, and then we review our material. We study it after the class, we study it maybe 3 days after also, and then another 7 days after also, and then after 2 weeks also, so that one katha goes deep into the heart. And then we pray to Krishna while chanting, Krishna, whatever I have heard, may you please kindly give me the strength to execute it. May I remember it at times when I'm tested. When I go through circumstance, may I remember this katha, may it give me direction. In this way, hearing becomes powerful. Let's hear this. This beautiful verse from the purport that Srila Prabhupada quotes in 9:1839. Srila Prabhupada mentions this in the context of our mind thinking about sexual activity and lusty thoughts. Yad avadhi mama cheta Krishna padara vinde nava nava rasadhaman udyatam rantumasit tadavadi batanari sangame smaryamane bhavati mukha vikara sushtu nishtivanam cha. Yamunacharya, the exalted guru of Sri Ramanujacharya, he says, since I have been engaged in transcendental loving service of Krishna, realizing ever new pleasure in him, whenever I think of sex pleasure, I spit at the thought and my lips curl with distaste. And Srila Prabhupada continues that sexual desire can be stopped only when one is fully Krishna conscious and not otherwise. As long as one has desires for sex, one must change his body and transmigrate from one body to another to enjoy this in different species and forms. But although the forms may differ, the business is the same. Therefore it is said, Puna Punascharvita Charvananam. Those who are very much attached to sexual intercourse transmigrate from one body to another with the same business of chewing the chewed, tasting sex enjoyment as a dog, as a hog, as a demigod, and so on and so forth. How powerful a purport. Very strong. Who can speak like this to wake up the society to reality? People are pacifying everyone in this world on the name of spiritual life. आप भी सो जाओ, हम भी सो जाते हैं, दोनों माया में पड़े रहेंगे. अंधा यथांधय उपनीय माना तेपी से तंत्र उरुधाम निबद्ध. As Prahlad Maharaj says, a blind is leading another blind and both fall into the ditch. But Srila Prabhupada never preached like that. Bawl like a lion, roaring the reality, so that we wake up. We wake up to the startling reality. that we have to remember Krishna. The more we remember Krishna, the point is, how do we know we are becoming purified? Yamunacharya says, the more we remember Krishna and we taste sweetness in bhakti, to that extent all lower tastes become disgusting. And our lips curl inwards in disgust. And our mind spits at the thought. Mind is getting purified, so the mind spits at the dirty thought. But if the mind is not purified, then the mind is constantly thinking of one sense pleasure after another. So in this way, Krishna Smaranam is very, very important. Trying again and again to remember Krishna. Of course, this is a long topic. Today is just the introduction. We'll have a few parts to this where we'll see more verses and more ways how we can remember Krishna. But I'll pause here.